the show a special Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Parker Hesse joining me, as you can see on the screen. Jake Gervase, as you can see on the screen. Proper context here. We are promoting the Rally for Reed. It's a fantastic foundation that Jake Gervase works with and had a camp the second year, but had a camp last year in Davenport area. Parker Hesse, former walk-on Iowa Indian, playing great. Also, my home area, Postville-Castello area. So had Parker on the show a couple of times already. Former Hawkeye defensive end, great. Now Atlanta Falcon tight end. And of course, Jake Gervase, Super Bowl champion Jake Gervase, as they're both smiling and giggling. How could you not? Jake from Davenport area, Assumption High School, and then at University of Iowa. And now a special teams player, defensive back with a world champion, Jake. World champion Los Angeles Rams. Has that gotten old yet in the last month?
No, it's pretty cool to hear out loud still. I still don't know if it's set in, but yeah, definitely special to be a part of.
That is wonderful stuff. I heard about your Vegas trip, well, as much as I can say on the air, your post-Super Bowl celebration trip. That's cool stuff. But I want to tell you, about a month ago when Parker joined me on this show, and we were talking about you winning the Super Bowl, and to the reaction of your teammate and friend, it was almost as though Parker had won it. So I love the camaraderie between former Hawkeye greats. But Parker, talk about what you thought or what you were thinking when you saw Jake and his Rams win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, just like I said the last time I was on, Jake and I are we've been in similar situations throughout our NFL careers. A lot of times things are going great, you get signed, you're playing, we're texting each other, congratulating each other, and then sometimes things don't go so well. You get cut. You're stuck on the practice squad for what seems like forever. So everything that he's gone through, I can empathize with that, and then to see him kind of at the top of the mountain is pretty cool.
And Jake, I see you smiling. That's got to make you feel great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Being former Hawks and really good friends. We're always rooting each other on, and Parker could tell you we had some dark moments back in Iowa City where we were both unemployed, working out in his garage, waiting on a call from a team. And it's just crazy how some things seem to work out and find a way to work out one way or another. And, him making the active roster from the get-go this year, I know is one of his goals and pretty special, and obviously carved out a role in Atlanta. So it's awesome staying in touch, and we've come a long ways, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Yes, you have indeed. And pop that shirt for us out again, if you would, for us. If you're not busy enough, for crying out loud, he's the Rally for Reed, as you see there, Super Bowl champion, NFL offseason training and working out. You and your wife, Haley, decided, you know what, we're not busy enough, so why don't we now come back and visit some family briefly in Davenport and then just move to Texas. So how have you survived that? You doing okay, or you barely survived it?
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple months since the season ended for sure. I actually had foot surgery at the end of the season, so in terms of the move, I got to give all the credit to my wife Haley. I did very minimal. She packed up our whole house and basically unpacked the whole house here in Austin, and then just training, working on the camp, and doing some real estate stuff. So it's been a crazy couple of months for sure, but getting settled in Austin, but miss Iowa already.
Wow, and we miss you. And I got to say, Parker and I were both kind of chuckling here in studio. Yeah, nice timing to have that foot surgery and blame it on the team doctor and say, honey, I'm sorry, I'd like to help you. But hey,
yeah.
I couldn't let you ride for free on that one, Jake.
I know.
But Parker and I want Parker to go first again on this, and then you, Jake, as we wrap up this first segment in the next couple of minutes, and then we'll have one more with you, me and Parker, Jake, and then we'll just close out with you and me, Jake. So Parker, what's your biggest takeaway going into the NFL? You and I have talked a couple of times prior, once on Zoom and once in studio here, but for those that didn't know this or hear it the first time, reiterate what for you was so important that you took away from the University of Iowa and being a Hawkeye to the NFL.
Yeah, I would say, just being someone who's trustworthy. Obviously there are people who are, freaks of nature, God-given ability, who can change the game, and they get paid that way. There's people that, teams pay to win one-on-one matchups and make plays that win the game. I'm not one of those people, but fortunately there's a lot of jobs for people who aren't those people. So if you're not someone who's paid, to make plays and win games, you have to be someone who's trustworthy. And I think that's something that, the university here, really instills in guys is, just treat it like your job because it is. Show up on time, do what's asked of you, and do it to the best of your abilities. And I think that's something that has helped me in my NFL career.
Living embodiment of that. And Jake, I'll ask you, I'm sure you have similar thoughts, but what would be your one main takeaway? If it's not the exact same as Parker's, what is your one main takeaway from being a Hawkeye into the NFL?
Yeah, two of the things the Rams have stressed in my three years of being there is accountability and coachability. You got to be able to own up to your mistakes and learn from them, and then you got to be able to be coached. And I think those are two things I learned in my 5 years at Iowa. And like Parker said, you just got to be able to be relied upon. Go out there and do your job. 80% of the league is guys who are fighting for a roster each and every year, and then the top 20%, those are the guys that get the big money and the long contracts. But just being ready when your number is called upon, take advantage of any opportunity. That's definitely something I took from my time at Iowa and try to keep with me going into the NFL.
I like your thought when you say trustworthiness, Parker, and then Jake, when you say availability and coachability. And the best ability of all, of course, is availability, right? So to be available to all that. So let's run to a quick break. We'll be right back with more former Hawkeye greats in Parker Hesse, now with the Atlanta Falcons as a tight end, and Jake Gervase, a defensive back special teams player with the world champion Los Angeles Rams. He still can't help but smile when I say that. You see that, Parker? Good for you. For Jake and Parker, this is Dave O'Hara with Hawkeyed. We'll be back in one moment with more with these guys in just a few minutes.
To make the Mershman Seeds delivery experience even better this year, Mershman Seeds is offering you a brand new Apple app called Mershman Delivers. It will give you the estimated time of delivery down to the second and updates you as our truck makes its way to your dealership. Mershman Delivers will provide you the answer to the number one question we get when it comes to delivery. When exactly will the Mershman truck be here? Available on the Apple App Store. Download Mershman Delivers today.
Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Thanks again to Sinclair Broadcast Group. I mentioned it in shows past. We have been renewed for another year, and now we are statewide. Besides just being in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Cedar Valley area, we are now located on stations in Des Moines, Sioux City, and Ottumwa, Kirksville. So year 2.5 coming up now with Sinclair Broadcast Group, and thanks again to them. And we've been this way statewide for the last 9 months, but thank you both again for rejoining us after segment one. And I want to talk to both of you about the incredible work that you both do for charity. And every one of you former Hawkeyes that I have spoken to, even current Hawkeyes with the Murray boys and the McCaffreys, they're taking their NIL money, and Tyler Lindenbaum's not been on the show yet, but took his NIL of $30,000 and donated to the Stead Family Children's Hospital at the University of Iowa. So congratulations to both of you, and job well done for all of your charitable work. But this time, Jake, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Parker. So Jake, what for you got you involved with Rally for Reed, but in charitable work in general? And again, I had a great conversation with Megan and Bill Gleason, the parents who tragically lost their son, Rally for Reed. And it's just so sad when you hear any child of any age, but at such a young age for Reed. So what gets you involved with charity work, besides that being a Davenport area kid, but in general, Jake, please?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of something my parents instilled with me at a young age. Was, I was blessed to grow up in a very fortunate family where we never had to worry about our next meal or any serious health problems that we faced. And being a part of FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes in high school, and giving back in that way. And then, early on in Iowa, it's kind of a requirement for young players to go over to the Children's Hospital or go to the vet hospital there in town, whatever it may be. And even though it was a requirement at first, you kind of learn to love that, right? You think you're going over there and you're hanging out with these kids and trying to brighten their day, where you leave with a bigger impact that they had on you. So
Wow.
Just something that, I was able to be a part of when I was a part of the Iowa football team, something I really enjoyed. And then I was able to form that relationship with Reed and his family, and kind of hit the ground running with his foundation towards the end of my career at Iowa. And now, as I continue to play football in the NFL.
Parker, you're going to be joining Jake and other former Hawkeyes at camp as you did last year in June 24th, I believe, correct, Jake, at the Davenport Assumption St. Ambrose facility there. And, congratulations to you, Parker, as well. Another great season for you in the NFL, and your charity work continues not just with Jake with the Super Bowl champion Rams, but with you, and you were with the Titans after you left Iowa, and now with the Atlanta Falcons as a tight end. What for you got you involved, or why do you want to give back in charity as you've done so wonderfully?
I mean, I just think, nobody, achieves anything without the help of other people. So, just on my individual journey, and I feel like everyone in their own lives, we all have people to thank at every level, whether it's teachers, coaches, people in our community that we could look up to. So anytime, you get to potentially be that for somebody else, it's really helpful because, kids are the future, and that's something that they're something that we need to continue to invest in.
I can't improve upon what both these guys just said, because I got to tell you, when you talk to all these former Hawks, and Keith Duncan will be joining us here, and he's going to be a part of your camp again as well, as you mentioned, Jake, and some of the other usual suspects will say who joined you last year and going to make this an annual thing. But okay, on the way out the door here, next couple minutes, Parker, what's one thing that none of us would know about Jake Gervase? And then Jake, you also get another segment besides your turn. So whatever Parker says, just know you can really lay the wood to him when he's not with me here. Look at him smile. He gets the extra benefit. But something about Jake we wouldn't know, or that we can say on the air at least, Parker. You both got red in the face, by the way.
Well, you put him on the spot.
I know. I mean, I wish I could have had a little prep time for this.
Well, that's the key about being a Hawkeye. You got to perform under pressure. That's why I didn't give you prep time. All right, Jake, you seem ready to go. You go first, and then Parker, you can think about it for a minute.
I would just say simply, like, people may not know, like, Parker's just like an old soul. Like, he is like very, what's the word here? I always say this wrong. Philosophical, and
you got it right.
Like, he's deeper than comes off for being like a captain on the Iowa football team and the Iron Hawk our senior year in the weight room. Like, he's like a deep old soul once you get to know him. Well, okay, so he took it easy on you. It was very complimentary. So now you know what your direction. And by the way, Jake, I say that to my production partner, Rob Miller, all the time. I always, it's a running joke now. Every time I talk to Parker or text with him, I always say to Rob, have I told you that what a nice guy Parker Hesse is? And all you guys fall in line with that. But you're right, Parker, and I've heard that from many Hawkeye reporters and writers in the pool, reporting pool, that have said that about you as well. So Jake took it easy on you. So you decide if you want to pile some dirt on Jake or just be kind.
No, I'll be kind. He, whenever we do, so like we're working out, like we're doing upper body stuff. He's in my head when we do max like upper body press movements. So if it's any type of like max effort, whether I go first or he goes first, he always beats me by like 1 or 2. And like he'll go first and like he does 15 reps, he'll be like, you won't do 16, and I'll always get 14. And I can never find the strength in me to beat him if he just gets in my head like that.
It's true. That's why he calls me Papa sometimes.
I don't call him Papa, but he does beat me a lot.
Look at the joy in his face that he even gave the one finger like, yeah, I got you. But all right, so that's very good. So see, that's why it was impromptu. You guys perform under pressure as Hawkeyes. I couldn't give you any prep time. That was an organic answer. But well, Jake, you'll join me for the second segment. But Parker, thank you so much as always. Great having you in studio. We'll have you back, if not before you go to Atlanta at the end of middle of April. You said April 19th. You got to report back on either Zoom or some point. We want to catch up with you because we know mini camps and camps. It's a whole nother world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really is. Thank you for your time for doing all this now twice during this winter. But any parting comments for Jake?
No, I mean, I think, what he's doing, they make it super easy for us. Him and the Gleasons take care of everything. So, I mean, I know you're talking up our charitable stuff. We really just show up and then just make jokes with the kids all day. They're the ones who are putting in the work all day.
That is awesome. Parker, thanks again so much. Jake, hold on just for a moment. We'll be back with more Jake Gervase, and thanks to Parker Hesse, both former Hawkeye greats. Jake is now a world champion with the LA Rams as a special teams. Did I say that enough, Parker? With the special teams, the defensive back. Jake paid me to say that about 10 more times.
If you didn't say it, he would. So.
All right.
Is that true, Jake? That's right. And Atlanta Falcons tight end and former Hawkeye great Parker Hesse. Parker, again, thank you, Jake. Thanks for holding on. Back with more Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara, in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair, upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology or a seed company that's writing the book on it? Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Mershman Seeds has been treating soybeans for decades, long before it was commonplace. We're the leader in technology, introducing Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, with an added fungicide to help produce a faster, more even emergence every single time. Who can you trust with your yields? Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. There you can see Jake Gervase joining me, Super Bowl champion. That's probably the 10th time, but you never tire and you smile every time I say it. But I loved what Parker Hesse said, and thanks again to Parker for joining us for the first two segments. Special edition of Hawkeyed this week with me, Dave O'Hara, but joined by Parker Hesse, former Hawkeye tight or defensive end, now current tight end in the NFL, was with the Tennessee Titans, now going into year 2 with the Atlanta Falcons, and Jake Gervase, Super Bowl champion with the LA Rams and special teams player and defensive back. Jake, as always, thanks for joining us for the first two segments and coming back for segment 3. Always appreciate your time, but I got to get a little round robin or a little speed round here with you as you're smirking. I got a little inside information from Megan Gleason, Megan and Bill Gleason, obviously with the Rally for Reed Foundation or rallyforreed.org. And again, your football camp upcoming this June 24th. All the information at the bottom of the screen here throughout the show of websites and links to go to. With players like Parker Hesse going to be joining Jake again for year 2 of this camp. Tristan Wirfs was there last year, hoping this year. Keith Duncan's going to join us in a little bit. Jack Heflin going to join us maybe in a couple of weeks. So we're going to have a lot of you guys on, Jake. So I'm all about promoting and helping out because you're helping us out here. But now we got to get real. Rubber meets the road. Okay, so your wife, Haley, was a basketball player, was a Bluters bunch. Now, she played in the same time frame as Claire Till, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so you and obviously George Kittle, Claire's wife, or Claire's husband, Claire is his wife, San Francisco 49er tight end, one of the best tight ends in football, former Hawkeye great, and you get to bump heads and quite a rivalry now between you and the 49ers, between the Rams and the 49ers. Any smack talk between the wives from their days of playing basketball back as Bluters bunch?
No, not at all. They still friends. I think they talk every once in a while. Obviously, on game day, Haley's rooting for the Rams, Claire's rooting for the Niners. But like you said, they've had our number the last few years. We hadn't beat them. We were 0-6 against them my first 3 years in the NFL until the NFC Championship this year to go to the Super Bowl. So no smack talk, friendly competition between a couple former Hawks, both football and basketball wise.
Good. That's good to hear. Okay, every friendly waters there. Now, I love what Parker Hesse said when I was trying to get your wife's maiden name correct. She was a basketball star, prep star in the Davenport area, Assumption, where you went to high school sweethearts. Her name was Haley Schnaden. And so Parker said, to remember it, Dave, Schnaden is her maiden name. So I got the last name right. So in a game of horse right now, even with your bum foot, you just had surgery post-Super Bowl, who takes a game of horse, you or Haley?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to give it to her. I'm not much of a basketball player. I tried it for 1 year and was very below average in high school. And she's got a nice little mid-range game. So if we're playing horse, she'll take the cake. If we're playing one-on-one, I'm going to play some bully ball and take the win there. But I'll give her in the game of the horse. Haley will take that one.
All right. So even if we use the smaller women's basketball and we called by women's rules, you're still going to dip that shoulder, aren't you, and lean into bully ball?
Yeah, I'm not going to foul. I'm going to play clean, but she's going to feel the physicality a little bit. But yeah, she was obviously a much better, more successful basketball player than I ever was. So.
All right. And I heard some of your, in other interviews, you talked about your somewhat wrestling career, and you said, I made the wise move of just staying with football, so kind of gave up the wrestling and basketball. Now, he made an off-camera appearance between segments with you, me, and Parker, but your dog, Finn, he was bumping around there earlier, and we've gotten into a habit on this show with Parker Hesse. Earlier, we had Milo, his dog, on, and with Keith Duncan, guys, we had his dog Mila on. So if Finn ever bumps around, we'll pull him back on camera briefly. But so as far as going post Super Bowl now, and with Haley, your wife, how tough is it, when you leave Iowa, you've been there 3 years, you win a Super Bowl championship this year, you move to Texas. Man, it does take a family or a team to play in the NFL. I don't think a lot of people realize this. I'm talking to Parker, who's now engaged, but he talks about his girlfriend or fiance and things to get done. I don't think we realize just how busy you guys are.
Yeah, it's crazy. The season is obviously what it is, 17 weeks long, hopefully making the playoffs. But at the same time, even though I'm the only one playing football, Haley is sacrificing a lot to be with me and support with me. And she's a teacher. She loves teaching. It's what she does. In the last 2 years, she's taken a leave of absence from teaching so she could be with me, and we didn't have to do, long distance marriage during the season. So it's definitely tough. It's hard on our family and definitely hard on her, and she sacrifices a lot. But I wouldn't be able to do it without her and her support. And I think there's a lot of guys in the NFL that would say the same thing. You can't do it alone. You need friends, family, spouses to support you through the ups and the downs, the good times and the bad. So, yeah, like you said, it's a lot more than people kind of think from an outsider perspective on what it takes to be successful and to keep chasing your dreams.
And again, you talked about this earlier, but I think it's important to talk about your charity work again and with what little free time you do have and working with the Gleasons, Megan and Bill, with the Reed Foundation or Rally for Reed and rallyforreed.org. And talk about your association, this camp upcoming. Take a few minutes. It's June 24th in Davenport, and you had your first one last year. Some of the former Hawkeyes you had are going to be back again this year. And of course, we know about Parker Hesse, who we just had on. But talk a little bit more. There are 3 sessions, Megan told me, that you're going to be having. So give us some more details on the camp, please.
Yep. So it'll be the 2nd annual Rally for Reed Foundation football camp in Davenport, Iowa at the St. Vincent Athletic Complex, which is St. Ambrose and Assumption's Athletic Complex. Very grateful to them for letting us use their facilities. Last year we had close to 600 campers, raised over $65,000 in camp fees and sponsorship money. We had a lot of awesome sponsors in the Quad City area. And this year, we're hoping to do it bigger and better. We're going to raise the limit on the campers to around 250 per session. First session will be K through 2nd. Second session will be 3rd through 5th. And last one is 6th through 8th. Those are each 90-minute sessions where we'll have stations with different drills and some speed work and some competitive periods. And then at the end of each session, we'll have an autograph session for 20 to 25 minutes with all the coaches. So, we got a great lineup, coming back for sure. You got Parker Hesse, Ben Neiman, Josie Jewell, waiting to hear back from Tristan Wirfs. Anthony Nelson may be in this year. Then you got dudes like Nick Easley, Keith Duncan. We got an awesome coaching lineup. Hoping to raise a bunch of money for Reed's Foundation, not only to help the battle against pediatric cancer, but also to remember Reed and what an awesome little boy he was and the impact he had on so many people.
And that is just fantastic. And I can't say thank you enough for the great work you do and all the guys you just mentioned. And when you talk about doing this, you and Parker both, I'm always struck by this. And even talking to Keith Duncan last week off the air, and we're going to have Keith on. And a lot of these guys, viewers that Jake had just talked about, we're going to have them on as the weeks upcoming to promote the Rally for Reed camp as Rally for Reed.org. But as we talk about, we work with the Fight with Flash Foundation as well, Tater Tough, Rally for Reed. The fight never ends, Jake, and it's so unfortunate these young guys and young gals get taken from us and carrying on their legacy. That's the thing I admire the most about you guys is you and Parker are almost struck. You both said off camera and Parker said it on camera, and I want to bring it back on camera again with you. It does as much or more for you guys as it does for the kids and the families.
Yeah, 100%. I was able to grow a pretty strong relationship with Reed through, unfortunately, the time he spent at the Children's Hospital up in Iowa City, and just to get to know him. And, I think I'm having a bad day after missing a play or two at practice, and then you go see him hooked up to an IV pole, getting radiation and chemo. It really puts things in perspective. And like I said, has just as big of impact, if not bigger, on the guys that get to go see these kids who are battling some, horrendous things and fighting for their lives. So I feel really blessed to be able to get to be close with the Gleason family and to have gotten to know Reed for the good 2.5, 3 years I did. And this camp's something special that we can honor him and his legacy with.
Cannot wait. He is Jake Gervase, Super Bowl champion with the Los Angeles Rams, former Iowa Hawkeye great. Thanks also to Parker Hesse for joining us in the first 2 segments, former Hawkeye great and now tight end with the Atlanta Falcons. So, Jake, my friend, thank you so much. Good luck with the camp, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and keep bone up on that horse game. Take Haley down if you can. All right, Jake, thank you so much. For again, Jake Gervase and Parker Hesse, I'm Dave O'Hara. That's all from us here at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guest and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.